Hello and welcome to Star Reach, or as you probably saw in the cinematic there, what it was known in Europe, Space Federation. I'm guessing that Tectonics, the company that made this, is a European company, based off of the fact that the opening cinematic said Space Federation in it. That was the Space Federation was the name in Europe. Star Reach was the name of it in the United States. Unfortunately, I can't confirm that because, to be honest, I couldn't find any information online about Tectonics, the company. So Star Reach is another game from my childhood, another Interplay game published game, as you saw. From my childhood. I don't remember if I mentioned this before in previous Let's Plays. Growing up, the Windows 95 that I had, we got a Gateway computer, and it came with, as part of the Gateway computer package thing, I'm assuming it came with the bundles of games, and one of the bundles, I'm assuming, was Interplay bundle, which would explain why I have so many Interplay games from my childhood on the computer. Interplay published, Dungeon Master 2 was published by Interplay. This game was published by Interplay. But this is another game I have fond memories of as a child. It is a very early space-based real-time strategy game, actually. And I've talked too long, and it's gone to the credits here. Which actually, one of the notable things here with the credits, I'll just let it run here real quick because it reminds me of another nice thing about this game that has stuck with me for a long time, is the music. The music in this game is absolute bangers. It's got six different songs for playing stages. This is one of them, and they're all stuck in my head, even to this day. I'm not gonna worry about talking over it right now because you'll hear plenty of it once I start getting into the game. But yeah. Let's get into the game here. All right, so this is a real-time strategy space-based real-time strategy. Actually predating the first Warcraft. I believe predating Command and Conquer. So it plays a bit differently. And there really isn't a campaign per se. It has a series of scenario missions that you can play either by yourself or with other players. It has multiplayer. It's split screen split screen multiplayer. It can be played either co-op or against each other. You can set up. So this one of the things that I really loved about this game is it had a lot of for an early RTS, kind of one of the pioneer RTSs. It had a lot of really interesting mechanics to it. I'll get into some of the actual deep gameplay mechanics here, but one of the first things is, okay, so the first scenario here, scenario 0, is a training mission, and I can click on this and it'll actually give me a description of what the mission is. The goal of this scenario is to capture the volcanic planet Holo. The humans on the planet Terra have recently expanded to the moon planet of Centauri. Help reshape the economy and lead the expansion to the planet of Holo. Tip: to increase resources quickly, destroy structures or scrap ships. So, pretty much, to complete this mission, you just need to capture this planet. It's just a basic tutorial mission. And you can actually kind of view how much structure starts on each planet. how much food, minerals, and population are all starting on each planet before you start the scenario. But one of the other things you can do is you can set up the players here, and you can set up computer players using keyboard setups, keyboard 1 and 2, which you can customize, and joystick 1, joystick 2. But the other interesting mechanic that this game had is you had 2 different control schemes, ship and phantom. Phantom pretty much makes it so your control scheme is you're just a crosshair, and you can just kind of move around the map freely, going to each of your planets, selecting the planet, giving it commands and whatever. The other command method is ship, where you are actually playing as a unit. You actually have health and a fuel gauge like all the other units in the game, and you can fly around and fight in combat with your ships. The downside, of course, is you can't as easily move around. You can't as easily move around the map and view what's going on in different locations just by moving your cursor. You're moving there like you did with the Phantom crosshair. Because you'll get shot by enemy ships, or you'll run out of fuel before you get over there and get back to a planet. But it's very interesting control scheme. Like, I really liked the 2 differences in control schemes, because as it very much changes the game. Because the ship has some disadvantages of, say, one of your planets is blockaded. You can't you won't be able to access the planet to build anything off of it because it's blockaded by enemy ships. Whereas if you have the Phantom, you can just go over to the planet, select it, and build from there. But when playing as the ship, if you're good at it, and I'll tell you that flying it is not easy, but if you are good at it, you could theoretically fly over there and help. If you're trying to break a blockade of ships on a planet, you can fly over there with your ships and help the fight by playing as one of the ships. And I think your ship is one of the fastest units in the game. So there's that. The other thing that this game has is it has, as you saw probably in the intro, the 7 alien nations. It has 7 different races. The humans, which, humans. The Zanbari, which are like praying mantis looking things. Synod Legion, which are ape looking things, maybe. The Cathod, which are kind of squids. Zinni, which I think it's Zinni. They're kind of like weird energy race. The Brokelians, which are robots, a robotic race. And I think it's Solanates, which are that. I don't even know how to describe them really, but yeah. So there's 7 different races. If 2 different, and you can also name each player here. If you have multiple players playing the same race, they will automatically be allies. So pretty much the races count as teams. One of the things that some people might call it a flaw of the game or a missed opportunity. I don't think so, is the fact that all the 7 races have no differences between them, other than visual, just what they look like. Some people might consider that a missed opportunity. I call it a missed opportunity for wrecking the balance of the game, maybe. Is what I would call it. I'm fine with it because you know that it wouldn't be balanced. You know it wouldn't be balanced if there's seven different races and they had differences between them. There would end up being one race that's better than the others, and of course you can't have multiple players playing the same race, without being allied to each other, and which I'm sure they could have changed that too, I suppose. But anyway. I've spent a long time rambling here. We're going to jump into the game, finally, and I will go through the first mission here and kind of explain the mechanics of the game. So, as we saw the description before, the goal of this scenario is to capture the volcanic planet Hollow. The humans on the planet Terra have recently expanded to the moon planet of Centauri, help reshape the economy, and lead the expansion to the planet of Hollow. So, this is your main information screen for each planet. You got these 9 different options. So you can back out, and this is the Phantom control scheme. As I was saying, it's kind of like just a crosshair. So I can just kind of freely move anywhere on the map. I can go down to the other planet I control, Centauri. And I'm going to take advantage of kind of explaining the game mechanics of the game, since there's no enemies on this stage. It's a training mission. It's tutorial. It's go capture that planet. So on the main info screen, you have the planet info, which press this and it'll just show you all the structures that are on your planet. So as you can see, we have in the upper right there is the headquarters. You can only have one headquarters in the game built on all of your planets. It pretty much dictates what is your capital planet. And pretty much if your planet with the headquarters gets captured by an enemy, you're out of the game. That's how you lose. Or how you win versus opponents is capture the planet with their headquarters. In addition, the building on the left there with the green dots is a spaceport. Spaceports will come into play when I start talking about the units, your spaceships. The building with the dish there is the defense system. It makes it harder for enemies to capture your planet. Below that is the kind of blue dome. That's a biosphere. That increases your maximum population for the planet. And the kind of green domes on the lower left corner are the hydrospheres, I believe. Hydroponics. The more hydroponics you have, the higher your maximum food. So as they say, there's the planet info. Production, I can't do it. Production is your building units. I can't build any units because I don't have a factory built. Planetary improvements. So these are the actual buildings that I was talking about. Here's the headquarters. Factory. Factories are required to build spaceships. Spaceport are required to store spaceships. Defense system is pretty much used to, as I said, it's a defensive system. It protects against enemy attacks. You have the biosphere, which increases your maximum cap on population. You have the strip mines, which increase your production of minerals, and hydroponics, which increases your cap on food. As I said, destroy structures. You can pretty much just get rid of structures. And we'll be using that shortly here. Repair structure. If structures get damaged from enemy attacks, this is where you can repair them. Then you have the map, which you can access the map to view the galaxy map pretty much, and you'll be able to see like your trade routes between planets, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Planet economy. This shows your population, which, as you can see, I'm at 274 right now. In the lower right corner says rate. That's how much it's increasing each cycle. And max is the maximum amount of population I can have based off of the type of planet it is, plus how many biospheres I have built. There's a maximum of, I think, 3 biospheres on the planet. Below that is food, which maximum is based off of hydroponics. Actually, there really isn't there isn't a maximum for food. The rate is based off of hydroponics versus your population. So the more population you have, decreases your rate of food generation. The more hydroponics you have, increases the rate of food generation. So you need to make sure you have enough hydroponics to support the population on your planet effectively. Minerals is you have a rate of mineral generation that's just natural. Currently it's 11, and then it increases based off how much mines you have. And then you have your economy, which is primarily based off of the population of all of your planets. So you'll notice Terra is generating 24 credits, and Centauri is, well, putting me in majorly in the negative at the moment. Yeah, you'll notice I have 48 credits right now. And I think I'm actually losing credits I might actually be losing credits. Yeah, you'll notice I can't build anything right now because my credits are just tanked. Oops. And that's largely because of Centauri. Centauri's population is 0. So Centauri is a moon. And it currently cannot support... I don't know if it has anything built on it right now. It actually has 2 biospheres and 3 hydroponics, a defense system, 3 strip mines, and a spaceport. So here's one of the first things we're going to do. Because there's no... So you'll notice down at the bottom here is... in the bottom right corner, it says variable cost. It's showing... The green bar is showing how much cost that structure is eating out of my economy on this planet. So this defense system is eating a bunch of the economic growth, and this isn't generating a lot of economy because I have 0 population. If I remember correctly, economy is based off of your population, plus I think it's minorly based off of how much minerals you have. Because the more, if you have a certain amount of minerals, it improves your economic flow of your planet, I guess. So the first thing we're going to want to do right now is we want to dismantle that defense system because there's no enemies anyway, and it is wrecking my economy. We can probably also get rid of the spaceport. And we have already fixed a part of our credit flow here. The other thing we can do is, because we actually have... Well, so I will go back here to show the last 2 sections. We have the storage bay. Because we have a spaceport, we can store units on our planet. Because one of the things that you actually can't do in this game is unlike more modern RTSs, you cannot select multiple units at once. You can't just there's no mouse control here. You can't select a bunch of units and send them all to the same place or whatever. You'd have to select each one individually, one by one, and tell them to go over here on the map, that map screen, and then, select the next one, tell it to go over there. Or what you can do is store them all in a storage bay. You can store up to 8 units in the spaceport, and then you can just select all of the units and hit launch and send them to a location at once. So having a spaceport is a really good way to synchronize the launch of ships to perform attacks and stuff. So spaceports are very, very valuable for when you do combat. Right now, they're not that useful. And in fact, I don't need the defense system on this planet either. So we're gonna get rid of it, and that should hopefully improve our economic flow to the point. Now we actually have a bunch of credits. Because one of the things we're gonna need to do is we're gonna need to make a factory so we can build ships. So the last thing we have here is supply lines. So you can create supply lines, delete supply lines, view your outgoing supplies, and view your incoming supplies. What we can do here... Oh, yeah, we gotta wait until the factory's done. Because you can only build one thing at a time on each planet. So there's kind of some of the micromanaging stuff that you gotta be careful of. And why the ship method of control can be a little bit less efficient. We're actually going to build another strip mine here, over here, just to get more minerals. And what we can do here is, because we have all of these minerals, so you see that bar at the top, that's our production. Now that it's done, we can do a supply line, because, so, different...
Factory produced.
Okay, so... different planet types have different benefits. Moon planets kind of actually suck. Like their maximum population is... they can't support a population if you don't have a biosphere. And each biosphere with a maximum of 3 being able to be built on a planet only increases the cap by 100. So you can only increase your maximum population of a moon planet up to 300, which kind of sucks for the purposes of kind of sucks for the part. Sorry, that kind of sucks for the purposes of economics, because comparatively with my Earth type planet here. I got the 1 biosphere here, and I'm capping out at a maximum of 800. So if I made the 2 more biospheres, I would be able to actually have 1,000 population on this Earth planet and be making a lot of money. And in fact, actually, just at right now, I've actually hit the population. My population is at a point where my hydroponics are not supporting population anymore, and I'm running out of food. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to create a supply line to send minerals. One of the good things that moon planets are good for is strip mining and generating minerals. And then we can take those minerals, make a supply ship, and send them to our other planets here. Because each planet's supply of minerals is different.
Terra. Hydroponics plant established.
As you can see right here, on Terra, I only have about 2,000 minerals, whereas Centauri currently has about 4,000 minerals. And because it has 4 strip mines on it now, it's actually generating minerals at a pretty good rate. And now, now that we have a factory, we can start building ships. So there are 10 types of ships in the game. There's the satellites. Excuse me. There's the satellites. Satellites are your basic defensive grid. Pretty much you can have up to 4 satellites built on a planet, and they will just fly around the planet and... well, here, I'll build one. I'll build one and show you exactly what it does. There's a satellite. You can have up to 4 of them. They will just circle around the planet, and any hostiles that fly near the planet, these satellites will shoot at. It's your basic defensive grid. So we're going to send some colonists down to Centauri to increase their population. And honestly, this is not really that necessary. What I'm doing right here, but I'm just going to do it for the purposes of demonstration here. Because all we really need to do right now is take a troop carrier and send it over to Holo to capture the planet, and we're done. Troop carriers, you'll notice there's a little bar here that slowly empties, and every time it empties, it generates a new troop. Every time you build a troop carrier, it uses up one of those troop. Right now it's at 5, so I could build 5 troop carriers, and then I would run out of troops for the planet, and I'd have to wait until it generates another one. So there's a limit to, so there's a kind of a time limit on how many troop carriers you can generate. Troop carriers are basically what you use to capture planets. They have no defenses of their own, but they pretty much, you send them to a planet, they will land and attack the planet and try to take the planet. And the troops, if I remember correctly, the cap on troops is 5, but the number of troops you have is also a defensive number. So if you get attacked, if troop carriers come and land on your planet, their troops they can land with their troop carriers will take away from the number of troops you have on your planet. If they manage to reduce your number of troops to 0 and then send another troop carrier, it will capture the planet on that next troop carrier. And the defensive system modifies this in some way. I don't know the exact modifier that the defense building does, but it will modify that slightly. Then you have your light fighters, which are your basic cheap. They're like your TIE fighters. They're your basic cheap ships that you can just build for super cheap. They're real basic. They're not super strong, but they're, your basic fighter. Repair ships. So all your ships have a health bar. They also have a fuel bar. The longer you have them flying around without returning to a planet, the more they will spend fuel. Repair ships can refuel other ships and also repair other ships. However, they cannot refuel or repair themselves. So the general strategy when you're sending out groups of ships is you always send 2 repair ships, because repair ships can repair and refuel each other, but they can't repair and refuel themselves. So you always want to send 2 repair ships with like your group of ships, just so that way there's something that can repair them and refuel them and refuel each other when you have them like floating around a planet as a blockade, either a defensive blockade on your planet or a offensive blockade, siege blockade on an opponent's planet. There's a scout ship. The scout ship doesn't have any weapons. It's just a kind of fast ship. You can send it to a location, and if I recall, it lets you see all nearby units on this map here. So you can use that as a tactical system, especially if you're playing as the ship. You can use that as kind of a tactical system to set up like a surveillance grid of scout ships around the galaxy to keep an eye on what your opponent is doing without actually having to fly over there. If you're playing with the Phantom mode, it's a little less useful because you can just, fly over to your opponent's planet and see what they have over there. But it exists. Then you have the destroyers. The destroyers are kind of your bigger, heavier ships. You have the missile launcher ships. I think these are primarily used for destroying troop carriers. They're anti-troop ships, I believe. Marauders are effectively the troop carrier, except they have weapons and more defense. Pirate ships don't damage opponents, they shoot beams and capture enemy units. So they're like the monks of Age of Empires, where you can convert enemy units to your side. If you send a big group, like a group of like 8 pirate ships at a group of enemies, it can get real nasty real quick, because you'll just start taking all their ships, and then their ships start fighting for you. They're also really annoying to deal with as a defensive unit, because if there's a whole bunch of them floating around your opponent's planet and you send a fleet of ships, suddenly you just increase their defensive blockade, because they took all your they take like half your ships or all your ships, depending on how many get destroyed. And then lastly, there's the Planet Bomber. Planet Bomber you can send to a planet, and it will bombard the planet from orbit and damage and destroy structures. So you can kind of just wreck your opponent's economy without having to go and take the planet necessarily. Potentially destroy their defensive build, or damage their defensive building, so it's not protecting them. Wreck their hydroponics, wreck their biospheres, wreck their strip mines, and just kind of just destroy their economy in general without having to go and take the planet. That's pretty much it. So that's enough explaining. I've spent like half an hour here, I think, just explaining game mechanics. We're going to make a troop transport. So when I make a unit, I can either send it directly to a planet, or I can send it to a location. It doesn't have to be a planet. I can travel to a storage bay, so I can send it to another planet storage bay. So if I still had the spaceport on Centauri, I could tell it to fly over to their spaceport and get stored there, or I can just have it put in the storage bay. I'm just going to put it in the storage bay just to kind of show how that works here. So you'll notice I have one less troop on my troops here. I'm going to build another one. I'm going to put that in the storage bay as well. And I don't need to do this. I only need one to send over to Hollow to take it, but I'm going to do a couple of them here just to show how the spaceport works. So one of the other things you'll notice is I also can't build I can't build half the ships. The amount of ships you can build, so having one factory gives you access to the first 5 ships. Having 2 factories on a planet gives you access to the destroyer and M-launcher as well. And if you have 3 factories, which is the maximum, it gives you the rest of the ships that you can build. Having more factories also increases the amount of time, or decreases the amount of time it takes to build things. Having more factories, you build faster. Kind of makes sense. Anyway, so we got 3 troop units stored in our storage bay, so we can select all the units we want to launch, go down to launch here, and you can tell it to escort and return. So if I have like fighters in here, I could tell them to escort my troop units to a destination, and then return once they finished escorting. Once the troop carriers have went and landed, I can just tell them to escort and remain. I can tell them to escort and disperse, and they'll kind of just scatter around the ending location to kind of act as kind of a defensive grid around the planet or wherever. And just kind of act as a defensive patrol, and travel to storage bays if I want to send them to another storage bay to get stored. In this case, we're going to tell them to escort and remain. Oh, whoops, hit the wrong button. Escort and remain. We're going to go and capture Hollow, and that should be the end of this mission. So with as you can see with the spaceport, I can send all of these ships out here at once. If I didn't have the spaceport, I'd have to go to a ship. Oh yeah, and I can't even do it with these. With the troop transports here. I might be able to do it with... Nope, I can't do it with these either. So normally you can go to like a ship that's on the map and select it and give it orders to go somewhere. Troop transport, I think you can't do that because they don't sit on the map. They'll just fly from one planet to another.
Planet Hello.
Alright, so there we go. That is the first tutorial mission. It's just teaching you how to do that. And kind of teaching you how you can sell buildings to kind of undo some of the damage to kind of help your economy. Because as it was right there, my economy was suffering because I had too many buildings built on Centauri, which was eating into my economic growth, trying to support those buildings without having a population that was generating enough money. So anyway, that is the first mission. We'll press escape here. And then once you finish the mission, it lets you see statistics through the game here. You can look at the citizens, your population, your minerals, credits. Yeah, you'll actually see before I went and sold those buildings, my credits my economy tanked before I went and sold those buildings. How many ships you built, how many ships you destroyed, how many troops you produced, how many you landed, how many you lost, how many bombers you produced, how many structures they destroyed, how many you lost. And you can see the stats for the person who's in first, stats for the person who's in second, and stats for all four players, or all of the players, potentially up to 4 players. But that's the game. So we'll do the next scenario here. Scenario 1. Quasar. The goal of this training scenario is to attain a population level of 70 on the nearby moon planet. An important aspect of Star Reach is establishing a population on normally uninhabitable planets. Keep in mind that supply ships refuse to drop off colonists where there is not enough dwellings or food to sustain the population. So, this is pretty much teaching you how to go and colonize planets here. I'm going to switch back to humans because I like playing humans. I'm one of those boring people who likes playing humans. You know, when I go play D&D and the race I pick is a human. What can I say? I identify with humans. Anyway, so this mission should be a pretty quick one. Here's another one of the songs. So, goal of this training scenario is to attain a population level of 70 on the nearby moon planet. Yeah, so this is pretty much just kind of explaining first we're going to need to go and capture the planet to make it ours, and then we're going to need to go and build a biosphere because it's a moon planet. It can't support a population without having a biosphere. So we need to build a biosphere. We start with a factory, strip mine. Actually, we probably want to get a hydroponics built right off the bat here because we're at 0 food right now and a max population of 900.
Planet Tecton. Hydroponics plant established.
I think in this, with population of 900 on a Earth planet, I think we need all 4 hydroponics to be able to support that. So we're just going to build those right off the bat here so we can get food generated.
Planet Tecton. Hydroponics plant established.
We're going to need food, because without food, we're not going to be able to... We're going to need to transfer food over there to populate the planet. Moon planets and volcanic planets are the 2 painful planets to deal with because neither of them can support populations on their own. You have to get a biosphere built first.
Planet Tecton. Hydroponics plant established.
So we're going to send a troop transport over there to claim it. Then we'll probably make us some strip mines. Yeah, now we're finally generating food. Kind of eating into my economy a little bit, but...
Planet Arthur. Base established.
Yeah, okay. So we've got the planet. It's got nothing on it, so we need to get a biosphere built. But, of course, we have no population, and so we have no mineral generation. We have no population and no strip mines. So we have no mineral generation whatsoever. So actually what I think we'll start with... We'll start with a strip mine. I could technically send a supply line of minerals down here, but I think I'd rather get it generating minerals on its own. Not much. Yeah. Alright, so what we're gonna do... That was actually probably not a good idea. Yeah, this is pretty much teaching you the benefit of the supply lines here. We're gonna send some minerals down there. We're gonna send some food down there. You don't need the hydroponics to have food, you just need it to generate food. On moon planets. Since we only need a population of 70, that means we only need to build the one biosphere. So I probably could have just... Since I'm sending the mineral transport ship over here anyway, I probably could have just foregone the strip mine and just went with the biosphere right off the bat. Okay. Now we got 48 food, and we have 800 minerals. So we're still short a little bit. We're gonna have to wait a little bit longer. I could send more supply lines, but it's not really necessary. So one of the benefits of... So your economy is empire-wide, whereas minerals are planet-based. One of the tricks with the economy that you wanna take advantage of is you don't want to necessarily build out every planet. Like some Earth planets, you might want to just maximize your population and not build anything else other than like biospheres and hydroponics, just to maximize the population on that planet. And then just have it as a generating money. You can just pretty much let the population generate economy to kind of help offset planets like your moon planet here. Just get the minerals here, then we should be able to build the biosphere. There we are. Once we got the biosphere built, I should be able to send a supply of colonists down.
Planet Martha. Biosphere produced.
While waiting here, I guess I'll explain the planet types. So there's Earth-type planets, which are just like, they're the best type of planets all around. They have the best population amount. They're just, as far as economic systems go, they're pretty much the best. Desert planets are I think desert planets are the second best because they're also very good. Though I think they struggle with, I forget what the trade-off was for desert planets. But other desert planets were like the second best planet. There's the water planets, which, while not as good as desert and Earth-type planets for population and stuff for generating economy, they naturally generate way more food than other types of planets. So they're really good sources of supplying food to your empire. You can just pretty much fully build out like the hydroponics and population on a water planet, and then just be sending that food to all the rest of your planets to support them. Because you'll notice I actually haven't built the third biosphere on Tecton here, and that's because Tecton, the Earth-type planets, you can build a max of 3 biospheres and 4 hydroponics. If you build a third biosphere and get the population up to 1,000, it actually crosses the threshold where your hydroponics cannot support the population. 4 hydroponics is not enough to generate enough food for 1,000 people, but it's enough to generate for 900 people. If you go and if you fully build out the hydroponics and the biosphere, you will eventually end up where you run out of food on the planet, and then you'll lose some population until you hit that threshold line where it starts generating food, and then it'll just kind of fluctuate back and forth of having no food and the population going up and down on that line. Which is not great if you need to supply food to other planets like I'm doing right now. It would become a kind of a problem. Did the supply ship not transfer the... Is it because... Oh, maybe it's because I don't have a hydroponics and it needs the hydroponics. It might not have because, like it said, it won't transfer a population if they don't have a place to live and food. Technically, I do have food. I gave it, I've transferred 200 food over here, but I don't have a source of generating food, and that might be enough for it to have refused to drop off the population, which is kind of annoying. But that means we're gonna actually have to wait here a little bit longer for to build a hydroponics. I need one more visit. Yeah, I think one more visit of the mineral supply ship. And if I really wanted to, considering the production of my minerals, I could send. Since your minerals actually do cap out at 10,000 for a planet, I probably could send another transport ship for minerals, just to transfer it faster here. So yeah, I think I need to build a hydroponics before it'll consider me having the food requirement fulfilled. Which means I could actually probably end... I could probably delete the food supply line. Yeah. Alright, so Tecton food. We will retire that supply line. Because we've got enough food here. It's just a matter of having a hydroponics for production. There we go.
Planet Arthur. Hydroponics plant established.
Yeah, there's our population ship. Our colonist ship. How many is it bringing? 50. So yeah, it's bringing 50 over here. And then it should naturally generate up to, once we have some people on the planet, it should naturally generate up to 70 and finish the mission. I think... Yeah, we can just retire that one. Yeah, there you go. So now it's at 51, 52. And as our population slowly grows, you can see that the economy here on Partha is slowly climbing its way out of the dumps as well. Almost there. Just 2 more.
Planet Tecton. Mission accomplished.
And there we go. That's the second tutorial mission finished. All right. So, that is the first 2 missions of Star Reach. In the next mission, it's another training mission here. The goal here is to gain control of the rich Earth planet Tecton. Since each ship type has a specific fuel capacity, it is sometimes crucial to determine if a ship can reach its objective. Although there are many ways of solving this scenario, perhaps the most efficient way involves the use of a spaceport. So this is teaching you about the fuel system that makes it kind of... there's a limit to how far ships can go before having to dock at a planet. So you don't necessarily want to send ships from across the map towards another planet because they may run out of fuel before they get there, unless you have repair ships to refuel them, which I briefly touched upon earlier. The other way you can, of course, do this is I can go and capture these other planets. As it says, there's multiple ways that you can solve this scenario. One of the other ways I can capture these planets and then from these planets send units down to the Earth-type planet to capture it. The other way it's hinting at here, the most efficient way involves the use of a spaceport. Effectively, what it's saying is build a spaceport, put some repair ships in there, and a troop transport. So that way your repair ships can keep the troop transport fueled and themselves fueled and just fly it straight down to the planet. That's really all that there is to that, this scenario. So the scenario after that is when we will finally actually get to some combat. We'll get to deal with scenario 3. Goal of scenario is to eliminate the enemy base. Memorandum to Synod Commander concerning the recent revolt on the planet of Partha. Eliminate the offenders immediately. Synods will not tolerate any dissection of our great empire. Do not fail. Tip: try using remote views by clicking on objects in the map. Yeah. So we're hitting about an hour here, so I'm gonna end it here. It's a good place to stop. But in the next episode, I'll probably, since I might as well just go through these in order. I'll probably blitz through scenario 2 really fast. Get a spaceport built, get a factory built, and then just send the troop transport with the repair ship and be done with it. But that way we can get into some actual combat missions here, and you can kind of see the meat and potatoes of the game. But yeah, this is Star Reach. I have a lot of fond memories of it. It was it's a really great space RTS that's kind of damaged by its time. Because unfortunately it's got multiplayer, but it doesn't have online multiplayer. It's got couch co-op multiplayer, which is fun, but it kind of, in this day and age, it kind of mars the ability to play it a little bit with other people. But yeah, and it's definitely. This is one of the game. This is actually the game that that I had when I briefly talked about Troubles. This game is one of the ones that I wanted to show off, because it's a really obscure game, but it's a game that I really remember having a lot of fun with. I remember playing this all the time with my brother, playing it all the time with my sister. She loved this game too. And like we would go. Well, I haven't gotten to it yet, but I'll mention it when we do. There's one stage we would always play like every time, and we would just team up and just wreck the opponent, like the enemy teams on playing co-op. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, it's this is one of the games that, like, one of those old obscure games that I really wanted to share. And this is the one that I was talking about when I said, when I talked about having technical difficulties, because back when I was trying to record the Let's Play for this game kept crashing, and it was really unfortunate. It was really frustrating for me. So I'm really glad that it's working now, and I'm really glad that it's a decade later than I would have liked, but I'm really glad to be sharing this game and maybe getting it a little bit more, you know, getting it a little bit more recognition. Because that's I think one of the things that I really like about making the videos is showing these games that have kind of gotten, these older games that have kind of gotten forgotten, is what that I have fond memories of. That's what I really like the most about making these Let's Plays. So anyway, thank you for watching. I'm going to end it here. And yeah, in the next video, we'll finally start digging into the actual combat and of the game, where things will start getting a little more exciting.